Well, hello, everybody. This is Show to V with Mike G, the show of life, the show of love, the show of round rock in this case, but most importantly, the show of Queen and the Flash soundtrack. Today's guest is the wonderful and iconic Travis Tober. Some of us think he's a party animal. Some of us don't know what to think behind that big, large beard of his. But in my conversation with Travis, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about the industry. We talked about the economy. We talked about love. We talked about Paul McCartney. Honestly, it's a really great conversation. A lot of cool stuff thrown in there. But most of all, and I'm going to take this little nugget because this is, for me, the nugget of the conversation. Any day that you wake up and you hear The Power of Love or any Huey Lewis and the News song on the radio, that is the best day of your life. So without further ado, here's my interview with Travis Tober.
Huge tradition. I always go to Midnight Cowboy
on Halloween.
On Halloween,
amazing. Oh, that's a brilliant.
Every
tradition.
year I go. I like to see their themes.
Yeah.
I've been every year, so it's kind of like
Days of Confused this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Days of Confused. Yeah. They had the soundtrack going.
Hey, Travis, real quick.
Yeah,
are you cool, man?
I'm totally cool, bro.
Good.
So, it was totally by accident. Like across at Midnight Cowboy, we had reservations at 6, and obviously, I'm a huge sports fan as well. I've been cursed with being a New York Jets, New York Mets, and a Buffalo Sabres fan. So the New York Mets
those are good teams.
Good teams.
Good.
They don't win a lot.
So they're underperforming teams that are fun to watch.
Yes, absolutely. Torturous at best.
Yeah.
So the Mets were in the World Series, so I decided to go across the Four Horsemen, check it out, and then I'm like, well, it's Jackalope. Who doesn't love Jackalope?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude, great.
So I walk in, and I didn't realize it was Comic-Con going on at all.
I had no idea either.
Not one bit. And so I go up there, and I talk to the bartenders that I know, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on?
It's just, was it like insanely packed?
Insanely. It was the busiest I've ever seen Jackalope ever. Like, it was like, just
tight, arm to arm.
People
Fire
on
marshal
people.
coming in any moment.
Exactly,
kind of
could
thing.
shut it down. You can't even get to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So I finally get up there. I order a couple drinks, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is awesome." I'm a Bruce Campbell fan. I'm not, I'm not huge. I definitely love the Evil Dead series.
Yeah, absolutely. Arm of Darkness, his greatest moment, I think.
Oh, definitely. And then you see him doing those weird little cameos and Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's cool,
all the
little
same
Easter egg
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
It's totally cool. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get out of here. And Alexis, who's the manager, and she's like, Bruce Campbell's jumping behind the bar in 10 minutes.
No shit.
So I'm like, well, I'll chill for that.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't chill for that?
So I'm with Darren Miowski, a couple other people. We're just hanging out. And I'm like, Bruce Campbell's jumping behind the bar in 10. We got to chill.
What'd they say? They're like, no,
no. We're definitely we heard a rumor it was happening. And apparently
incredible.
It got leaked at Comic-Con. That's why the place is just nuts.
No shit.
Yeah, and I've never been to a watch party, perchance. I've seen some, but to watch something that on TV with literally 200 people, and everybody just screaming and going nuts,
just totally stoked.
Yeah,
we've all been waiting. I had actually another conversation with my filmmaker friends, and we're like, we're really looking forward to this Halloween night. No better framing. Yeah, Jackalope with Bruce Campbell behind the bar. No better framing.
Yeah, it was insane, perfect,
right?
Perfect storm.
And not to mention he's pouring gin shots. So I think when I think of Neil deGrasse Tyson, which is another one I'd love to drink with. Yeah. Bruce Campbell is a dude I'd love to drink with.
Totally.
Yeah, and I talked to Jeff Bully about drinking with Lemmy, which of
that
course
would be
amazing.
Huge.
Right.
That would be huge.
So Bruce Campbell's divvying out gin shots, but what do you think Bruce Campbell drinks when he is all by his lonesome, looking and just kind of pondering life? What do you think Bruce Campbell drinks?
I mean, if he drinks anything less than whiskey and beer, I'm disappointed.
I know, me too.
I mean, he's he's an American hero. He's our weird version of John Wayne. So
dude,
he has to. He's like the nerd version of John Wayne. So he has to drink whiskey and beer. Like, and probably like some really Napa cab, like when he's out being fancy. Like those are what he has to
deep with leathery notes.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It was completely wild. I mean, he jumped behind a bar, super nice.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And I was sitting there, I was like, is he going to be one of the? Is he gonna Snoop Dogg it? Is he going to be 2 hours late to his own appearance?
He was on time, wasn't he?
On time, 2 minutes past when they said he was going to be on there.
Because people from Michigan, they know how to be on time.
Is he from Michigan?
I believe so. I think that's where all the Evil Deads are shot. Where Raimi's from.
I could see that.
I grew up partially in Detroit.
Oh,
and
okay.
I remember seeing the Evil Dead poster in the mid 80s. And I'm like, And it was scary as shit. I had no idea. It was filmed around the corner from
I'm from Buffalo, New York originally. So
yeah,
it's armpit of the nation.
Armpit of the nation.
It's the armpit of the nation of my nation. Nobody else can talk bad about
it. I wouldn't dare. I drove through Buffalo one time. I spent a month in Buffalo one night.
It can happen. Yeah, really quick.
Well, so how'd that night turn out? How was Halloween overall for you?
It was good. I being in the bar business, I often have to work on Halloween, but it just happened to fall on a night that I was off.
That's cool.
And I'm more of a people watcher when it comes to Halloween. I don't get dressed up. I'll go out. I'll check it out. Really just to see basically the shit show ensue, and that's what it is.
A shit show,
and that's what Halloween, especially when you live in Austin, Texas. I mean, 6th Street is framed for something as crazy as Halloween.
Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah, and Jackalope, no less, has. So they have. I remember one night there was Texas Relays. This was probably 5 years ago. Waves of people. And it's perfect just sitting right by the entrance and that table that's up there on the right. Like when you get in, you can just observe everything and you can watch the melee outside, the wave of people moving back and forth. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like watching birds in flight. Like it just they all kind of it's
waves
of crowd
of
mentality. It's crowd mentality. It just kind of goes like this, and it's a perfect storm of awesomeness.
That's killer. So you grew up. So I met you. Gosh, years ago now, when you were still at the Four Seasons.
Yes.
A very large personality. I think that there was no one that would not rally behind Travis Tober as being a guy who says things, says them loud, and does shit hard.
Yeah, I mean
that beard alone.
the beard and the voice have gotten me a far way.
Yeah.
It's funny, people think I'm super loud and outspoken. I am on occasion.
Yeah.
I think that kind of goes ahead of me a little bit just because of the beard and the voice.
You're folklore, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you may not I think we had this conversation one time where like I'm not actually the guy that the media thinks I am,
We did, I'm not as crazy as everybody thinks I am. But I mean, if the reputation precedes me, and like I said, I've hung out with people and they're like, wow, I thought it was just going to be really crazy tonight.
Yeah, why is your shirt still on, brah?
I know. Who knows, man? It's the frat cocktail guy, I guess I've been called. And,
I don't know.
I've been in the business for 20 years. So.
Yeah, so it's a good point. So you're from True and True. Were you born in Buffalo?
I was born in Buffalo, New York, downtown Buffalo.
Yeah.
Grew up on the east side, which is, historically poor Buffalo.
Yeah.
Grew up, and I got that story. I was the only white kid in my neighborhood.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
though.
It's an awesome story. I mean, being in Buffalo, you don't you think every city's like Buffalo. You think everybody's poor,
right?
You know what I mean? Like you just read about
because you can't see past it. You're like, this is what it's like, right?
Yeah, it was awesome, and I moved in with my grandparents and went to Cheektowaga Central, which is a suburb of Buffalo.
Yeah. How old were you when you?
I did a small little stint in West Virginia and North Carolina, traveling with my parents, and then we went back to Buffalo. My extended family owns a chain of small restaurants in West Virginia.
Oh, like diners or
more like
places, or?
Wings and tacos, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like that. My extended
wings so how are tacos in Buffalo? Because
no, this is in West Virginia.
Okay, sorry.
They're not as good as you think they are, but in West Virginia, they're the best damn tacos you've ever had.
Really? No shit.
So it was in Morgantown, a college town. I grew up in college towns my whole life.
Oh,
so
cool.
Buffalo,
a lot of culture, a lot of people. I mean, I imagine there's a lot of music, a lot of art and stuff. Were you exposed to that too?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It's kind of sad in a way, is because I didn't really appreciate. I left Buffalo, almost 18 years ago.
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
I left when I was 22.
Yeah.
started bartending when I was 18. I left not appreciating Buffalo as the city as it was.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave to get out and see what else was out there. But
Right.
I mean, it's probably one of the best architectural cities out there. There in Chicago are like two of the standouts.
It's a beautiful city.
Yeah. So.
What was high school like in Buffalo? Or were you in West Virginia then?
No, in high school I was in Cheektowaga, which is a suburb of Buffalo. I mean, it was such a Cheektowaga, Buffalo, New York. I mean, 90% of my graduating class is Polish. I'm Polish.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I rock the Polish Balkans everywhere.
That is a very elaborate tattoo.
Yeah, Buffalo and Chicago are two hugely Polish communities. I grew up.
So tell me, like, what's a Polish thing that the family would do on the weekends? Because I'm pretty naive. That I don't know much about Polish.
I mean,
stuff.
the thing about Polish people is we're very unemotional.
Unemotional.
Yeah, completely. Almost like type like Irish and stuff like that. Like
right.
on. So in Buffalo, the Polish community, honestly, like they go out to bars. Like, I mean, I grew up. One of the first bars I bartended in was a Boilermaker bar.
Oh, cool.
Before Boilermaker bars are
like
the
a thing,
now.
right?
Yeah, like this was legitimately everybody knows. Like, oh, Boilermaker bar, shot and a beer, and I'm just like, well, Boilermaker bars were named after the guys that worked third shift that made boilers.
Oh no shit!
Okay,
that's good.
So there was a legitimate.
That.
There was a boiler union in Buffalo, and they literally made boilers and hot water, all this stuff.
No kidding.
And they would get off third shift. 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and the first thing they would do is go to the bar.
Yeah.
So they get there and they order a shot of whiskey and a beer.
So here's an interesting thing. So Poland is located in a place where it's like, well, what whiskey would they gravitate towards? Is it an Irish whiskey or does it matter? Just give me whatever.
I mean, in Poland, vodka rules.
Yeah.
It
has to.
Yeah.
Polish it's potato vodka, right?
Yeah. I mean. A lot of people think Russia invented. I mean, Polish.
No, Polish.
Yeah, the Polacks, man, we invented vodka. I mean, we started.
People give them shit, but they knew how to get imbibed real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, and Poland's a huge drinking community. Buffalo is good or bad is a huge drinking community.
But it seems like it is a community.
It is a community,
which is a huge difference than a lot of the like satellite towns in Texas and stuff. Which means that in a sense, like you've got friends. Families know families, right?
Yeah, I mean, you grew up. There's people I know that born in Buffalo are going to die in Buffalo.
Yeah,
don't care, love it. I mean, I go back and it's great. And I go into a bar that I was in when I was 19 years old, and the same bartender. And you walk in, and it's like you never even hey, how's it going? How are you doing?
Killer.
And they shake your hand, and it's just like you never.
It feels good, right?
It's great. It's community. It's I said growing up in Buffalo is probably the best thing that could ever have happened to me. You know, it's a real Norman Rockwell type, growing up, but it's a lot of fighting, a lot of
I can't imagine. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like everybody's still cordial and they love each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, wonderful community, right?
I don't know how many. I mean, when I was working in bars in Buffalo, we worked at bars that probably had 10, 15 fights a night.
No shit.
Nobody ever pulled a gun. Nobody ever pulled a knife. And
just kind of a nice release.
Yeah.
It's a nice
just turn into people fighting. It's changed now, as everything has. But, I mean, it was common for bar fights. And, I didn't understand culture outside of Buffalo when I finally moved away when I was 22 to Florida. And I didn't realize that people didn't fight in bars. I thought that was a normal thing to do.
It's like, a bar is like an arena, right? Like that's where people box.
They figure it out. Did
you ever see a guy smash a chair on another guy?
Yes.
Oh, no shit.
Bottles.
Everything.
Actually, a couple of the bars I hung out at, I mean, if you see a bottle of beer, it has a long neck. We hung out at bars that specifically only serve short necks, so they couldn't swing and hit.
Couldn't break it on the bar?
Yeah, I mean...
And stab a brother?
Stab, hit in the head, whatever.
That's insane. Do you think that... So that is what I would consider a rugged upbringing. Do you think that it made you different and like more resilient to the softness and kind of like the bullshit and the catty stuff that you would see outside of that?
1,000%. I mean, my upbringing, growing up broke, growing up, in a poor community, in a poor town, a poor city. I mean, Buffalo, the last time it had a growing population was 1920.
No shit.
So it's the Rust Belt.
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing. Yeah. I mean, Buffalo at one point made more steel than Pittsburgh ever did.
No kidding.
So in the 60s and 70s, Bethlehem Steel closed down and basically shut down the town.
Yeah.
The automotive industry was strong there. You know, being in Detroit when that went down.
Sure.
My dad worked for General Motors.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah, I mean, it grew up a poor town. I mean, it was manufacturing. It was factory
working
work.
Class, right?
What's
that? Totally working class.
Yeah, blue collar. Blue collar right? as the company. I mean, you either worked in a factory or you worked for the government or you bartended.
Or you bartended.
I mean, and bars were every bar was legitimately busy. It was, you know, houses were bars. It was weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh no, kid. Like
I know how it's cute on Rainy Street. You have houses that are converted.
Right. Yeah.
These were legitimately like next to real houses, and they were still bars.
No shit.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
That is wild. Yeah, wait, so this is the mid '90s, late '90s?
Late 90s.
Yeah,
late 90s.
So what drove you to Florida then? So you finished high school. Kind of frame it a little bit. You finished high school in Buffalo. Are you really interested in doing the college thing, or you want to just like keep working?
I was actually in college. I was actually hired by a sheriff's department and Baltimore Police Department.
No kidding.
And Fairfax Police Department all at once.
Which
I was
did you pick?
in the police academy.
You were in the police academy?
I was in the police academy.
Were you more a Mahoney or a Hightower?
Definitely Mahoney. I went to the police academy and I lasted about 2-3 days, and I was like,
what was it that is like?
I just, what am I do? Pull somebody over and like ruin their day, give them a ticket, take them to jail? I'm like, get out of here. Go ahead. Like, it just wasn't me.
Yeah.
And so I decided I was already bartending at the time. I was 19.
Right.
And I was like, I'm having a blast doing this. My parents owned a bar when I was younger.
No kidding. So you grew up
I grew up
in
the industry. Yeah. My parents owned like a dive bar, total shithole.
Yeah.
Pinball, pool tables, and everything like that.
Right,
so
right.
I poured my first draft beer probably when I was 13, 14 by a bar. My first
Was it interesting? Like, was alcohol? So there's this whole academic kind of side to it. Was it just like this is how people live, or were you like I'm interested in this stuff?
At that point, it was I was making a ton of money,
a good amount of money,
working at a busy bar, and me growing up poor, I'm making at the time in Buffalo, $200 a night.
Oh man!
I mean, there's craft cocktail bartenders that don't make $200 a night.
You're totally right. Yeah.
And then I worked at I got hired at this nightclub called the Piers right on the water in Buffalo. I mean, we were making $300 a night sometimes.
So you liked it? Did you like I go back to this too because I talked to Jason Cosmas about it. I talked to Michael Phillips about it. Like, there's a performing element to it. Did you like that social part of it too?
Oh, it's my stage. I mean, that 2 feet of wood is what I live for.
Right.
I was kind of shy before I started bartending.
Yeah.
And I just kind of jumped behind the bar and it was just like, this is it. You get to be whatever you want that night.
Yeah.
And
it's nice, right? Because you can be you, but people will listen. It's almost like a captive audience, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a nice part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no matter what, people got to be nice to the bartender.
Dude,
right? Especially in like Buffalo, New York, and these bars where we don't give a shit. Yeah. We'll throw you out.
You won't get it, or you get thrown. No drinks.
No drinks.
Somebody puts their balls in your whiskey. Done. Right.
Yeah, we're done. We'll see you later. I mean,
out.
So yeah, I mean, it was just more of a money thing.
Yeah.
And I was making great money. I've never seen that kind of money before, and a social thing. Like you ran the party that night. So
it's got to be pretty good. I mean, did you get in trouble?
You know what? I never got somebody brought this up the other day, and somebody asked me about what how many times have you been arrested?
Right.
I'm like, never.
You've never been arrested?
I've never been arrested.
Because you're smart.
I'm smart.
You hit the guy and then you just jet, right?
Yeah, no, I could talk my way out of anything. Yeah. I guess I've never been arrested. I never really got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun.
Sure.
And at the end of the night, it's a whole persona thing. There's I've told people before there's Tober and then there's Travis.
Yeah.
And there's a whole Tober persona, which
Tober's like Prince. Single name, rock star.
I'm like, dude, I go out and it seems like I'm out of control or crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
Life at a party. Lampshade on your head, but I'm always in control, man. Like, I don't know. It's like I said, it's the voice.
So you go home, Wednesday nights or curling up with a nice book.
Yeah.
Drinking a Chardonnay.
I would much rather be at home most nights. But then I'm home a couple nights and I'm like, I got to go out.
I got to get out.
Yeah.
So Why Florida, man? Like, I wouldn't go to. You couldn't probably pay me to go to Florida.
Weather, man. Like, honestly, I'm not a cold weather guy.
Right?
Yeah, I
mean, the antithesis of the snow, the cold.
Snow is brutal, and I had grandparents living down in Florida, so I had family. I flew into West Palm Beach. Was gonna travel from West Palm Beach to Orlando and see what I liked.
Yeah.
My grandparents were in Delray. I decided to stay there.
And then you crashed with them, and they're like, "Hey,
yeah, crashed with them. Went out.
You.
Went to this new place, opened up, City Place, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna move here. Went home. Told my roommates I'm moving in 2 weeks. Told my girlfriend moving in 2 weeks. Told my mom.
What'd she say?
They're all like, "Wait, what?" And
was your girlfriend like, "I'll come with you"?
No, she was just like, "Okay, cool. Well, let's try long distance things. Figure out." And as we all know, long distance relationships don't work.
You knew what you're doing.
Yeah, I was
you were poisoning the well before you left.
she was a lovely girl.
Yeah,
but I moved down to Florida on a whim, and it sucked. I mean,
why did it suck?
I mean, I wasn't making money right off the bat. It was just a new town, and then I finally just like. I kid around a lot, but this actually time was 2000, and I worked at TGI Fridays.
I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with
that. No, there's not at all right now. Like, I mean, there's Chris Bostic is former TGI Fridays.
No shit.
I'm former TGI Fridays. There's a lot of former guys. At one point,
I love that it was the minor leagues.
Yeah, you had to do 16 shifts training behind a bar just to be bartender there, which is crazy.
A lot of shifts.
And when I first started, we were doing a lot of fresh stuff and a lot of your final test was 100 cocktails.
No shit.
So I mean, they might be shitty cocktails by today's standards,
but still a lot. Like it tests your muscle memory.
It had a recipe. Yeah, it had a recipe. I had a port test every day to get my drawer.
No kidding.
So I mean, we used to blindfold people in service well and have them grab bottles. We used to tie kids' hands. I mean, a lot of stuff that probably get us arrested today. But we would tie trainees' hands behind their back if they were right or left-handed and make them work with their weak hand. You know what I mean? So
what's weird about that? I would have never ever figured that TGI Fridays would have been the gauntlet.
TGI Fridays. I mean, ask any of those guys, man.
Maybe it's like a secret. Like, so maybe we're fine. I mean, I hope no one gets mad that we're revealing what is the best bullpen of the minor leagues.
Oh, I mean, God, what's his name? It's Tanqueray Gin brand ambassador.
Oh, Angus.
Angus, former TGI Fridays.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He's former TGI Fridays.
He can't even talk to me. How can he talk to customers?
He can't really talk at all. But I mean, there's a lot of former TGI Friday bartenders that were started, and then they actually branched out, and that's kind of it's not how it happened.
Dude,
but
that's so
our
strange.
Work ethic was there.
Yeah.
So.
But maybe so they put you through the gauntlet. They put you through all these kind of trials and tribulations, and it prepared you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I went down there and I had one shift, and within 3 months I was the bar manager.
Yeah,
which definitely set the.
Did you like working for TGI Fridays?
Loved it. Yeah. Loved it. It was great.
Good, it was great. Decent money. Good.
I was making $500 a night, man,
geez.
in South Florida. Yeah, I was.
It makes you wonder why you would leave.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was great, man. And the company actually completely changed after I left. Sometime after I left, completely changed and expanded hugely, and they lost a lot of their training.
Diluted and
exactly. So it just dumbed down stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
you obviously you left.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I left.
Where'd you go?
Actually, I went to management. I went to go run a nightclub called Blue Martini.
In Florida still?
In West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach, there we go.
Yeah, so they had one, I think there's still like 5 or 6 locations. I know a buddy of mine that I worked with in Buffalo still works at the Tampa Bay location. We're talking 15 years later.
That's crazy.
And I mean, it's great money. It's very, the girls, at one point when I was managing, I had 4 girls on a reality TV show.
Man.
I mean, the amount of money going over that bar was
insane.
It was very Lamborghini crowd.
Right. But were you learning though? Because it seems like TGI Fridays is actually a great organic place to learn. But were you, when you moved to the nightclub?
I went there. I was learning how not to do it, I think.
Which is equally as valid.
Yeah. I mean, I was learning. I mean, at this point, I mean, we're talking early 2000s. 9/11 happened, which changed a lot.
Yeah. How did it change the bar community?
It's the crazy thing is, we often say, bars are recession proof because if you're happy, you're drinking. You're sad, you're drinking.
Yeah.
I remember working in a local bar when President Bush at the time gave that speech.
Yeah.
And you could not hear a damn pin drop in that bar.
Really?
And we're talking 100 people in that bar, and it was crazy. Like, it was a weird time to be bartending, I mean, I bartended the morning of 9/11.
Yeah.
And I was going to work, and I was like, what the hell's all this talk radio for? I didn't realize. And then it set in right before I pulled in. And I was like, what the hell's going on? I go, holy shit. I'm from Buffalo. I'm not from, when you think of New York, there's New York City, and then there's the rest of New York.
Right. Absolutely.
But I mean, as an American and as a New Yorker and everything, you're like, well, what the hell's going on? So I remember that going on.
It's weird. It did change it all, didn't it?
It changed everything.
It's like I almost, so I had to be at work too that day.
Yeah.
But I had to be at the closing shift. And this is not industry. It's like retail or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I kind of don't. The skies are quiet.
Yeah.
Like, normally I would see some planes. Like everything's quiet. It's come to a halt.
It was totally surreal. It was surreal.
Yeah, it's absolutely surreal.
And it was just, it changed everything about it. It was like people coming, and that's all you talked about for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. But were they coming though?
Yeah. Oh, they were coming.
Have to, right?
That September and October is some of the busiest times I ever bartended ever.
Because I think people needed to talk about it.
Have comfort. I mean, if you look about it, I mean, America was founded in pubs. When you had problems,
Absolutely.
you went to a pub.
Well, that's where the insurgents occurred.
Yeah, exactly. So,
it, yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like, I think people just in their heads jump back and want to be,
How is it for you being a guy that kind of has to listen in a sense?
I love
media.
it, man.
Do you like it?
I love listening to people. You get out a lot yourself just listening. You know what I mean? Like,
you can't learn when you're talking, the Dalai Lama says, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can, when you listen and you hear people, and you can sit there and say, you know what, my life's not that bad, man.
Yeah.
I put liquor in a cup, and I get paid well. I get paid to hang out with my friends. I've been in the industry for 20 years. It's obviously changed a ton, but as much as it's changed, it's stayed the same. And you see it now starting to go backwards. Not backwards.
In what sense?
As we're getting away from, the 7-ingredient cocktails,
right.
or, the hoity-toity, cocktails and jackets and stuff like that, and
bringing it back to the people.
It's about a good drink. It's about good whiskey. It's about, I often talk about, opening a bar that would just has good ice, it has fresh juice, and that's it.
That's it.
You don't
that's
really.
kind of all you need. A sweetener now and again, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I mean, but there were sweeteners back then too, and they still did it. I mean, I grew up in an era where you muddled old fashioned. You did 2 white sugar packets and poured it on the cherry and the orange and muddled it together.
Yeah.
Always 2.
Always 2. That's good, yeah.
Yeah. So
that was like a quarter.
You had that same Angostura bottle forever, and you had that vermouth you never touched.
Yeah.
And
it's so crazy.
It's just changed. It's changed a little bit, but as much as it changed, it stays the same.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. I mean, it's like music, it's like fashion, it's like film, all this stuff. It's all circular.
Totally.
And it totally is. So how long did you end up staying in Florida before you either came to Austin, or did you make another?
No, I was in Vegas, man.
No shit.
Yeah, Vegas for 10 years.
Why I'm not surprised. So, okay. When were you out in Vegas?
I moved out to Vegas 2002.
How long were you out there?
Off and on since 2002 to 2011, right before I moved here.
Shit. So this is a weird kind of circular thing. Did you meet Paul McGee out there?
No.
Paul McGee worked. I had drinks from him in Vegas in the mid 2000s.
Oh, where at?
What? Oh shit. He was at Caesars, maybe. He was working for a bar, and he made me a muddled cocktail with some rosemary and stuff. But like that was this distinct impression I had.
Yeah.
And then he just has a better beard now and has tiki drinks, right?
There's a bartender up in Dallas, Gabe Sanchez, at the Black Swan. He was in Vegas the same time I was.
No kidding.
So he was out there. There wasn't when I first got out there in 2001, 2. I mean, it was just turn and burn. I worked at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
When times were good, houses were up.
Yeah.
I worked at a local bar. I was making $500-600 a night.
Yeah.
People were using their houses as ATMs.
You know the Griffin out there?
No, this is before the
way
Griffin.
Before.
This is like
sorry, you're old school.
Yeah, I'm old school. That's like Kavanaugh's like Irish bar kind of hangouts, and people would come in and take out $1,000 out of the ATM because their houses went up $15,000 that month.
Yeah, that's
and
insane.
Blow $1,000 at the bar, tip you $100. See you later.
Was it much different than Florida? Was the dynamic different?
At first, it definitely was.
Yeah.
Florida, I liked Florida, but it was too much of a transit community.
Yeah.
And in Vegas, when I first got there, the community was really tight, and it was really. you grew up. I mean, your neighbor was a stripper.
Yeah.
Your other neighbor was in Cirque du Soleil. It was just like, it was wild.
Totally close, because everybody else leaves, but the industry always stays.
And it's a huge industry community. And,
huge.
You know, we all hung out, and there's 4 bars on every corner. None of them were ever busy. You know, we were out there just building our thing, and then you actually seen it once the housing crash happened. Like, I seen Vegas at its best times and at its worst, and you literally watch, you know, your neighbor lose his house, your neighbor's neighbor lose his house, and like nothing but foreclosure signs on the street. It was just like, Jesus.
It's insane, man.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. And I mean, you see it now with you know, in Austin, all these houses are going up huge.
Yeah.
And
it's
I'm
a
like,
total inverse.
People are buying houses right now. I was like, didn't you guys learn anything 10 years ago? Like, the bubble's gonna burst.
It has to.
Yeah, so
Totally does.
We'll
There's
see.
lots of bubbles ready to burst, man.
I hope it doesn't.
Yeah,
because I mean, all these restaurants and bars are busy, but I mean, you gotta. I mean, they always say the economy is the one thing you can't control.
You can never control.
It doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter. The economy is something. It's you know, it's a big rhythm, man.
Yeah.
Like, it goes up and downs. There's just higher peaks and lower lows.
So you said you're in Vegas, so at least like till 2011.
I left in 2006. Got married actually.
Did you meet someone in Vegas?
No. Actually, it was a girl I met in Florida.
No kidding. Did she move back? Did she move to Vegas?
Oh no, I moved back to Florida.
Okay, you have to walk me through this.
Yeah,
then. So you're in Florida. You take a gig in Vegas. Something drives you to Vegas. And this
I'm
is
out
early
there
2000s.
3 years.
Like 2002.
4 years. I'm out there 4 years.
Okay, and then you move back to Florida.
Staying
and
with
this
your
is right, grandparents again?
What's that?
You staying with your grandparents?
No. I moved out. I actually got married and moved in with my wife.
Okay.
This is right when the cocktail scene started
taking on,
getting a little bit more leg room outside of New York and San Francisco.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine still, he works for Beam Global now, Philip Raimondo. He offered me a job as a head bartender, bar trainer at Roost Chris Steakhouse.
Oh, cool.
In 2006,
good money, man.
2007 opened up. We were the first national chain to go 100% fresh juice.
No kidding.
You know, classics. I mean, we had a Hemingway daiquiri on the menu in 2006.
Oh, wow.
Made legit.
Hey, you want to make me one later?
So I did that, and it was kind of like my first crash course intro to craft cocktails and fresh juice, and like, we didn't do anything mind-boggling. I mean, still vodka was still king, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we had, you know, I was in Palm Beach, was my home store. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we had our restaurant we built out was $10 million build out.
It's crazy.
You know, in the middle of a housing recession, which is completely, it's still open today. One of the guys that I got hired as the head bartender still, can't wait to go back and see him. Mm-hmm. You know, it was, you know, wine. It was, you know, a steakhouse, man. It's Canis Cabernet and Scotch and whiskey. You know what I mean?
That's where the money goes.
Did
you guys suffer much from?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, we were doing all right, but I remember because I was a trainer and I'd have to go do these trainings and openings and retrains, and we were out in the road, and you know, we got an email saying, hey, our stocks went from like $16-17 down to like $1.50 overnight.
Oh, wow.
And they pulled everybody off the road.
Yeah.
And like, stopped spending money. And I seen the writing on the wall. You know, I was like, you know, this was like hard 2007.
Yeah.
Shit has hit the fan.
It's a tough year.
American economy is in the shitter.
Right.
Nobody has a job. Nobody's spending $100 a person on steak.
Yeah.
So I made the decision at this point. I was in separation with my wife.
Yeah. So real quick, because I've been married one time before.
Yeah. We all have.
This. Yeah. the freebie, I guess you could say. But like, did the industry or being those late hours, being gregarious, being in front of drunk women all the time, was that the issue? Or was it's
a late night. I mean, she was a civilian. I mean, she worked during the day, and you know, and we still talk today. We're still friends. You know what I mean? But it wasn't a great situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm, you know, out at late, so you know, whoever I'm with has to know that, hey, I'm going to be out. You know, now with social media, right? It's amplified. Like, you can't do anything now with social media.
I'm envious of where you are, and we're not even married. You know,
right?
It's one of those things. But yeah, you're totally right. The difference in tempos,
totally,
right? The contrast that. It causes some problems sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming home at 2, 4 in the morning, they're getting up at 8 in the morning.
Right,
it's night and day, literally
totally
night
difficult.
and day.
So it didn't work out, but you guys are cool, which is great.
Yeah,
so
totally. We're still cool,
which is good. But you saw the writing on the wall in Florida because of the economy is tanking, all this kind of stuff. I think we all kind of suffered.
Yeah, everybody did.
I'm still very resentful for 2008, 2007. So at that point you said you headed back to Vegas?
I said I'm gonna head back to Vegas. Yeah. I'm gonna bartend in a shitty casino. Yeah. Not worry about cocktails. Just make money. Put my head down and make money. And I did. Yeah. I did it for a while. Then it was like 2009. I want to say the first year of Bar Smarts was starting to come around. Yeah. And they were coming to me, and I was at this, I was at the Gold Coast Casino. I was making money, man. I was working, just doing my thing. Right. Still, like, always got, cocktail books and stuff like that. Kept on it, but never practiced it. Right.
But you knew, but it somehow was like it was embedded in your brain, wasn't it?
In this industry, if you're going to be in this industry for 20 years, you're going to have to change. You know what I mean?
Like you have to learn something.
Yeah, you have to learn something. If you're the same bartender you were 20 years ago, you're not going to have a job. Right. I mean, listen, I'm way more. I'm definitely out of shape than I used to be.
But now
I'm
mentally
older. Like, I mean, it's a young man's game, so you have to up your knowledge and up your thing. So this Bar Smarts thing was coming around. I never really heard of it. Interested in me. I was like, and we were the second class to go live. No where I mean the my instructor that I had to make drinks live for was Dave Wondrich.
No shit.
So
he always have a ponytail.
Yeah, I mean, he always had long hair and a beard. I mean, back then, a nice goatee or whatever.
I always imagine him playing bass in a funk band. Is that wrong?
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Imagine that.
So, I mean, it was kind of like you had to study and go, and it was just like, went there. I remember going to the Suncoast Casino and doing it. And I look back now, and it's funny because I remember, like, Gene Simmons was there.
Oh, jeez. Not Sharon, what's her name? His wife, she was an adult star. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just wild. Like, just like you're walking in to take this test, and then the cocktail thing was definitely at this point full on, and it was at that point where, you're pretty sure it's going to make it, but you don't know if it's going to make it. Yeah. So obviously the good people at Pernod put money behind Bar Smart, stuff like that, but it was a great eye opener, man. We did blind tastes, 100 tests, and they made you sweat it for 2-3 weeks to see if you passed. I passed. You had a practical, you had a written, you had a blind taste. I passed them all.
Do you feel like that was something that is one of the few? I'm sure you've got plenty of milestones, but that moment, maybe you became a real bartender.
Yeah, I mean, no. I'll tell you when I became a real bartender was 1999. Mm-hmm. I was working at a Boilermaker bar, and people ask me all the time, and I say it when I interview people, stuff like that, like, how did you know when you became a good bartender? I was working at a place, a Boilermaker bar, and I mean, literally, a guy came in, and we're talking 9 a.m., orders a beer, a shot of whiskey, and gruff as hell, missing teeth, looked half homeless, a Boilermaker, union guy, and he come in, and I shake his hand like I shake everybody's hand, and I introduced myself talking. And before he left, he was laughing and we were telling jokes. You know what I mean? And that's what I knew. At the end of the day, man, it's a relationship business.
It is. And you have to have those soft skills to kind of smooth people over, like even the roughest of people.
Yeah, exactly.
So give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
I so selfishly kept the car keys in my pocket and Lydia needs to use the car.
All right, no problem.
Mm-hmm. And like all of a sudden the interview stopped. And maybe this is something I'll just keep in to be funny. Interview stops and like Steve Albini's like, what the fuck's going on? And Mark Maron's like, hang on. And you can hear a leaf blower distantly in the in the scene. And you hear Mark Maron like open his door and be like, hey, Rick. Damn, he can't hear me, Steve. Hey, Rick. And he's like yelling and eventually gets his attention. He goes, hey, I'm recording for like an hour, man. Can you come back and do that later? It's like, cool. Thanks, Rick. And then they it's funny. All on tape. He didn't cut it out.
It's like the Beatles, like recording sessions. You hear all the conversations in between.
Dude, for sure. And Day in the Life has this weird stool drop at the end of it. Because you know how at the very end it's like dun 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 and then boom.
Yeah, totally.
And if you listen really carefully, you can hear some guy scooting in his chair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, it's just like but as you can tell it's a wood floor and you can tell the guy scooted on his floor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to how did I not know that?
It's something. It's weird, right? It's almost like subconscious that we know this stuff about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan. Like, good. I grew up a Beatles fan.
So, why are you a Beatles fan?
My mom totally turned me on to the Beatles. Like, I just remember her always listening to it. Yeah, and I've always I remember like I was 16 and I bought that's like when the Beatles one album or it came out. They got re-released on CD for the first time.
Yeah.
And I bought them and I listened to them in my room and just chilled. And I mean, I saw Paul McCartney when he came here with my mom.
What? Oh, that's incredible!
It was awesome. It was
at
really
the
cool.
Irwin Center.
What's that? Yeah, I went. Dude. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Probably one of the best experiences I ever had. I got wind that he was coming. I knew my mom was in town. She'd never seen the Beatles before.
Oh, that's incredible.
So I bought the tickets. It cost me like $800 total, man.
Believe me, I
for like
understand
above
that.
average, like average seats.
Yeah.
And worth every penny. I took her to that. We, Paul McCartney didn't have an opener. Yeah. Played for 2 hours. Did not take a sip of water the whole damn time.
The dude is a machine.
I mean, he's like 68, 70 years old.
Yeah,
he's
just out there,
and he did it. And you heard every great Beatles song, every Wings song. He played a Lennon song. Like, it was just, like, I mean, like me and my mom are sitting there tearing up. At the time, it was amazing. It was awesome.
If there are a couple of Beatles. I mean, I'm a Beatles guy because I think that I had someone say that at one point, life is distilled down into 2 types of people.
Beatles and Elvis.
Wow. That's actually pretty good. I think because Elvis kind of
Beatles
predates.
and Stones?
Thank you very much.
Right,
yeah, Beatles and the Stones. And I was like, well, I'm not a Stones guy.
Me neither.
They're all
Never have
pomp,
been.
man. All pomposity and like, yeah, they got some attitude and stuff, but they couldn't write a hook like Paul or John.
Yeah, I mean,
nowhere near close. Or George, the heartbreaking, soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, not even close. Not even the same realm.
Yeah. And I hope that people bitch at me about this because the Stones are number 2. They always will be. Well, number 3, Queen. It's the Beatles and Queen.
I like Queen. I mean, look at some of those old concerts that they did where there's literally 150,000 people watching these guys singing along. That's insane.
Kidding. Wembley, Radio Gaga, everybody singing along, which is a lesser Queen
and
song.
I mean, let's not forget they did the whole score for Flash Gordon.
Yes, which is an incredible failure, but musically a wonderful success.
I mean, would you say it's a failure? I think it's an amazing movie. I mean,
all right movie,
Flash Gordon was the Jets quarterback. I mean, like
that's very well for you. So to frame it, absolutely a wonderful movie for you. Probably the best movie ever. Potentially,
and that today is the reason I'm a Jets fan. God help my life. You know,
not because you live there.
I should be a Buffalo Bills fan, but I'm not.
Flash was an incredible movie.
Yeah. I mean, the soundtrack was amazing.
It is, man. Like, they went all out in the wrong direction. It still worked. Yeah. There's not a lot of bands that could do that.
I mean, the only other band, I mean, it wasn't even strictly the whole way, was, Huey Lewis and the News of Back to the Future.
Oh, dude, brilliant song.
Nailed it. I've seen Huey Lewis 4 times live. Amazing.
Oh, my God. You know how envious I am right now? Unironically, I love Huey Lewis and the News. Amazing.
There's nothing ironic about it. It's great. I mean,
it's great pop hits.
I've always said, if you wake up in a day and you go out and you're headed to work and you start the car, and Power of Love starts and that's the first song you hear,
best day of your life.
The best day of your life.
Yeah,
every day. It's impossible.
It totally is.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I want a new drug. Happy to be with you. Hip to be square.
Yeah.
Like, heart and soul. All this stuff, man.
I mean, I love '80s music. I don't listen to a lot of. I mean, I listen to like Austin. Not even really Austin music. I like going out to see music live.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we live in music capital of the world. Legitimately, like I was telling people today, I was like, well, it's Monday, so there's probably going to be 30 live shows.
Right, instead of 60 on Wednesday, right?
You know what I mean? So
it's funny, we when Javier Flores was in here the other night, and it was like D-Day. I'll call it P Day.
Yeah.
Phil Collins came out of retirement that day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Little known fact that I just learned last year, Phil Collins is the largest owner of Alamo memorabilia.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's totally right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and I guess it's the Americana of it. Like, it's just he's a good old dude. I don't know.
I accidentally walked like through a press conference when Phil Collins was in San Antonio.
Oh, no.
And he was giving back his collection to San Antonio. And I was like, what the hell's all the cops for? Like, like this. And I was like,
I know he's
Phil
great,
Collins?
but
that's Phil Collins.
Yeah,
like,
that's incredible. Yeah. I'm excited. So 2 things. I'm excited that you appreciate Huey Lewis in the News to a degree of which I feel I do. And 2, that you understand the nuances of Phil Collins.
Yeah. I mean,
those are 2 really, really marketable skills. I don't care what people say. I don't care what anybody says. So you finished Bar Smarts. Yeah. Is this a transformative moment for you where you're like, I got to get out of Vegas. I can do more with this stuff?
It was like, okay, I'm done with Vegas at this point in my head because, I mean, it turned really bad and really dark.
Yeah.
Not dark me-wise, but I've seen the people changing. Yeah. And I was like, and okay, so like taking it back, when I was driving out to Vegas in 2002, I drove through Amarillo, Texas, and I don't know what it was about Texas. I was like, I want to move here one
Something
day.
about it. Yeah.
And actually, when I was married, I almost moved here in 2006. We actually bought a house in Round Rock.
No shit.
Building a house, and then we had our problems, and we gave it up.
Wait, so what were you going to do in Round Rock? Be a teacher?
No, I mean, at that point, well, she loved the suburbs. She was a day walker.
Yeah.
I was,
a night walker.
So I was like, I was going to bartend wherever.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. We canceled the house, so I still have a 5,000.
You realize like how amazingly coincidental that is? Do people realize that about you? That you actually had a house in Round Rock before you were actually in Austin?
Yeah, right.
That's incredible.
So I had so I lost like 10K on that, man. That was awesome.
Well, we all lost 10K on something that year.
10K is a small loss. Late 2000s.
But you drove through. It was a charming.
It was
place.
awesome. I don't know what about it was. It was the people. It was the attitude. It was the signs. Everything. I was just like, I don't know, man. I was drawn there. And even when I was talking to my uncle, he's like, "Yeah, you keep on mentioning about that 2 days you were in Texas." I was like, "Yeah, it's just awesome." Like I was
like
really
a cruel
excited.
Mistress. You're like, I keep thinking about her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I did the Bar Smarts. I jumped on with the RM Seafood crew. At that point, it was RM Seafood. And basically Herbs and Rye were the only cocktail bars in town.
Okay.
Nectali Mendoza, who still owns Herbs and Rye, good friend of mine, actually came to the Vox Table grand opening.
Oh, cool.
I was at RM Seafood. We did that, and we did cocktails. And I took that job to take it for 6 months to put it on my resume and move to Austin. And
what was it about? Because you had to, I mean, you were in, is it because you kind of could see Austin at a distance from Round Rock, or you considered Dallas, or you considered Houston?
No, I the whole time I was going to Austin. There was no change. Like, I was like, Austin's where it's at.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I still remember this day I'm living in Vegas. I literally Googled good bartenders in Austin.
Who came up with that?
Bill Norris.
Of course. Oh, Bill.
Bill Norris came up. I Facebook friended him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hey, what's up, dude? I'm a bartender from Vegas.
Yeah.
Coming out to Austin. Want to sit by chat. And this is when Haddington's was opened up.
No kidding.
And went in
on the West 6, the Duck Fat Sazerac, if I recall.
Yeah, Duck Fat Sazerac. I had one that night.
Yeah.
And came in. And he was awesome, man. He's just like, oh, yeah. I was like, hey, I'm Travis. He's like, oh, hey, man, nice to meet you. Bought me a round of drinks. Just, gave me a couple pointers. Invited me to chicken shit bingo. Rolled out. And, I remember the funny thing is my first, as I landed in Austin just to visit at that point, I went to Happy Hour at Uchi. And then the next morning I went to Franklin Barbecue before there were lines.
So
I was like,
you're in it.
Yeah.
You're in it now.
Oh, yeah. I was all
can't
in. Like
leave
that.
now.
At the point, the bags were already packed.
Yeah.
So
what was your first gig then in Austin?
Actually, this little place called 11 Plates. I did the cocktail program for them when I moved out. That's actually where I met Joe, our chef at Vox Table.
Oh, wow.
We met each other. There. Had really hit it off.
So you guys have known each other since, what is this, 2011, 12?
Yeah,
something like that?
Just turned 2011, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So I was out there working, and I took that job because it took 3 months to get hired at the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Happenstance, walked in, Four Seasons, they needed a guy to do the cocktail program. I was like, I can do it. They asked me like 4 questions. Met Mark Sayer, who was the som there, and we just kind of hit it off, and they just...
It's a good fit.
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky. I got in the finalists of a Tales of the Cocktail Handshake and Daiquiri contest.
No kidding.
2011 or 12, I forget which one.
Was that your first kind of like bigger competition?
First bigger competition, yeah. So I got in the finals of that, and the hotel's like, all right, do whatever you want, and they just let me do whatever I want.
That gave you the credit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's killer. How was your experience at Four Seasons? Seems like a great place, but weird clientele, man.
It was great, man. Yeah. Four Seasons gave me the notoriety that I wanted and needed.
Yeah.
Great benefits. I mean,
corporate, right? I
mean, I went to London and I paid for a plane ticket and stayed across from Buckingham Palace for 5 days.
Oh, that's killer.
So I have nothing bad to say about Four Seasons.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you hit certain plateaus. I hit the plateau and I left on a good note.
How long were you over there?
I mean, I've only had 3 jobs in Austin. I was there 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, 2.5.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's actually pretty good, pretty stable.
Yeah, I mean, you see it now. I mean, all these bartenders are jumping from bar to bar to bar to bar. It drives me fucking bonkers.
It's like, how do you feel about that? Because I have a distinct personality that in the music industry as well. You kind of got to, now this doesn't mean you have to spend 15 years in the industry. It doesn't mean that. But you do have to dedicate yourself to a single place for at least 2 years.
At least, yeah. I mean, you see it now. These kids come in, and I joke around with a couple of bartenders about bartending in the '90s, man. But these guys come in, they bartended for 2 years, and they're like, not even 2 years, 6 months. Like, where's my brand job? Like,
yeah, dude, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You had to work a bit to get a brand job. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
I mean,
you said over probably about 20 years or something?
I mean, I was just under 30, about 16, 17 years.
That's a shit long time.
There's a couple other smaller brands that approached me, and I didn't love them.
Yeah,
I couldn't get behind it. And then when Aviation came around,
what year was that when Aviation approached you?
God, I've been with them. I'll hit 3 years in May.
Were you out of Four Seasons then?
Yeah, I was at Four Seasons.
Were you looking for a gig or kind of just figuring out what
They
you
found me. They totally found. I got a text message from Joe Castillo, who's now at Treaty Oak.
Yeah, cool.
He was with Sazerac at the time. He's like, hey, my buddies are in town. They're looking for a part-time brand ambassador for a gin company.
Did you see yourself kind of crossing the line there? Not the line, not an ethical line, but just career-wise.
No. Actually, I really, really wanted to be. I've always loved gin and whiskey.
Yeah,
I've always been a gin guy. Like I was that weird guy. When he was 21 back in the 90s, drinking gin and tonics.
You were the only guy in Buffalo.
I was on the gin train from J1.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I had Aviation was in Vegas. And I was like, this is just something different.
Yeah, totally.
And then they approached me like, well, what's the brand? I was like, Aviation. I was like, hell yeah, I want to meet them.
Remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and they came, talked to me. Brooke Arthur came down probably about 3 weeks later. I was hired there.
That's so
on the
cool.
spot. It was awesome. I've been with them since.
How do you like that, what I'd consider a jet setter lifestyle, where you get to travel a bit, you get to push product?
I like it, man. I really do. I love it. You get to see, it's, you're working your job, but you also get to see R&D of all these great, amazing bars.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Guatemala for Aviation Gin.
Yeah. Is that where Ilegal was created? In Guatemala? Is that right? Or
popularized in there. So in Antigua is the Cafe No Sé where Freddie, have you met Freddie, right?
Yeah.
So the owner of that bar used to smuggle mezcal in from Mexico and sell it there at that bar. And that kind of created the lore that went in there. And I did the Aviation Gin launch down there.
Oh, cool.
And got to guest bartend at that bar, which...
That's killer.
Top 10 bars all time, easily amazing. One of the best experiences I ever did. And
how do you like the Guatemala in general? I've never been down there. It's beautiful.
There's cocktail bars in Guatemala.
That's so insane.
It's insane. I was there, and I remember, setting up for our event that night, and they had 4 local bartenders taking pictures with me. And then one of the bartenders halfway through setting up, he's like, "Do you know Charles Jolie?" I was like, "Get the hell out of
that guy."
Yeah, I'm like, and at that point, I knew in my head, I knew for a while, but I was like, it's legit. People make, I went back to Buffalo and there's 2 cocktail bars in Buffalo. There's 3 cocktail bars in Buffalo.
Right, and it's Buffalo. It's in New York State. I mean, that's a big market.
Yeah, it's Buffalo, which is a small market. I left there and I remember going back 4 years ago asking for a shot of Fernet and people looked at me like I was retarded.
Right, but you go to Guatemala and people know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's
how
nuts.
Just kind of speed. What do you think sped it up there?
I mean...
It's
the information age. Social media, man. I mean, everybody knows about, cocktails everywhere. So it's in the information age, everything doesn't have to travel through TV or anything like that. You pick up Facebook, you find people, you see what people are doing. The bartenders that are starting now know more than I did 10 years ago, and I've
just
already been behind the bar 10 years.
Greatest library of all time.
Exactly,
right?
yeah. I mean, you have so much information at your fingertips. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's both amazing and detrimental to society.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, Travis, do you want to learn anything at all times? Or do you want to learn nothing at all? You have any day, you've got that choice.
I mean, most people are guilty. You wake up in the morning, you click on the Facebook on the phone, and click on a couple links. That's where you get your news from. I mean, I haven't had cable TV in over a year.
You're better off anyway.
Yeah, exactly. True.
It's an interesting thing. So the aviation thing has been a couple years now. I met you at Four Seasons.
Yeah.
You left an impression on me. I was like, man, this guy has a very dynamic personality in the industry and stuff. And you transitioned into aviation. But honestly, the thing that I was really touched by. So I came in, and I know you've been working on Vox Table for a while, but I came in there and I had such a wonderful goddamn experience, Travis.
Well, that's
the
right.
Food was killer. Your bar staff treated me amazingly. I had the mezcal old fashioned that you guys had by the ounce or whatever. Yeah. Everything was executed just so perfectly. So how does it feel now? Because it almost feels like you're a partner in crime in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's basically, I have an owner that said, "Do whatever you want."
Gotta love that.
No, there's no
one at Ruth Chris is gonna say that.
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. There's no handcuffs. Today somebody comes in, I like this whiskey, I buy it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, the bar's profitable. I mean, the restaurant's profitable. The bar's busy every day.
Yeah.
We have 140 different whiskeys on the back bar. We have 20 different gins.
Yeah.
It's a good system. You know what I mean? We're across the street from the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah, great walking traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
Great place to just stop, like pre-movie.
Yeah,
great place to stop and get a cocktail.
Yeah, exactly.
And the food, I mean, those calamari noodles.
Yeah, it was still on the menu. They're still on the menu
good.
6 months later. So.
And you guys are expanding, and I think you've announced it, but you're expanding. So it's like you've got your amazing mix of food and whiskeys and cocktail program, but you're going to go simpler. Go agave, go tacos. Is that right?
Yeah, we're gonna do tacos, man. We're
What's it
we
called?
actually have the space across from Canteen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be basically, chef's still kind of working on thing, but it's gonna be like East LA taco, street tacos, Mexican cuisine. And I mean, we're going to be agave focused. We're hoping to do a patio bar. We're trying to see if we can make it work.
That'd be killer.
Do frozen cocktails in a frozen machine, but all fresh everything.
Yeah, simple. I can't wait to try like a nopalito taco or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, chef is from LA. I mean, he's from Mexican descent. That's what his parents had a tortilla factory. Like,
no shit.
That's his it's a homecoming. So it's just like,
cool.
And then me, like the whitest kid ever. You know what I mean? Like,
you only have a beard to cover up the whiteness,
exactly.
right?
So it's just like, yeah, how do you feel about agave? I was like, well, I love it now. Let's do it.
I've
take a
heard
trip down to
about it.
Mexico.
Yeah.
And, got on the train, man. I'm a believer. Now,
I'm really excited to see what happens because, I mean, agave. Let's take a brief tangent. So, you obviously are a bourbon guy, whiskey guy too.
Bourbon gin, absolutely.
So, what's the bourbon that you go to? It's been a really hard day, like it has been for me. It's fucking Monday, but it's been really tough. What is there something you sink your teeth into a bourbon?
Well, like I always see when people ask me what whiskey they should order at Vox or where I'm working, I was like, well, what time of the year is it? What's your mood? What's the day?
That's
what are you looking for? I call, I like in the middle of the week, I really like Buffalo Trace. I like, Maker's Mark. I think it's amazing.
A little bit more mild. I mean, full of flavor. But
full of flavor.
Tad mild.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit it here. I'm not a fan of rye whiskey. I never have been. It's, just a little too aggressive for
punchy.
me.
Yeah, it's really punchy.
I mean, I love Maker's Mark. I think they do a great job. Buffalo Trace, I think, is what every cocktail bourbon should ever be made from.
You're totally right. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's subjective. Yeah. But we agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's 90 proof. It's made for cocktails.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's brilliant sipping whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Sazerac. Say what you will about the whole Pappy bullshit and all this stuff.
But that's
give me Buffalo Trace every day.
Every day, $22 a bottle. Yeah, I'm totally into it.
And people say that now about like all this craft whiskey coming out, and I get it. Yeah. Like, everybody's whiskey centric. Everybody wants to do whiskey. But they keep on putting this craft bullshit in my hand.
Yeah, man.
That's 3 years old. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to pay $50 for this.
Or I
can pick up a handle of Jim Beam White Label.
Oh, dude, easily.
And, it's, 6, 5, 8 year bourbon in there. And it's leaps and tails above everything.
It's like playing golf with Jack Nicklaus. Like me playing golf with Jack Nicklaus. Yeah. You're a handicap of 40, Mike. That seems about right. Yeah. But somehow we're on the same level. No fucking way are we on the same level.
I mean, at this, I get it. Like, I mean, you're paying for the startup costs and all this.
Sure.
And everybody.
But why is that burden on us? I mean, frankly, why is that on us as consumers?
That's what I'm saying.
You can, if you wait it out, and I understand, but it's actually more strategically viable if you just wait and make the greatest thing possible than putting it out too early.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean,
it's crazy.
Apparently Daniel Barnes has some whiskey laid down.
I'm looking forward to tasting it.
He says it's 5 years old. I'm waiting.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I know.
Because if anybody's going to do it that really cares, it'd be him.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why I have the hunch it'll be good.
I really think it'll be good. I respect Dan Garrison and what he did. Because he did release White Dog. You know what I mean? And when he did release Garrison Brothers, it was young, man. It was young and overpriced.
Yeah.
It's starting to hit a little bit of a sweet point. It's almost worth what you pay for it now.
Yeah, it's getting close.
Which is good.
I love that it's a point of contention, and I think it's a great thing to talk about, and a lot of people just kind of hold their breath when they're talking about craft. When you have to modify, it's like, I've been trying to think of this episode of Seinfeld where it's like they're setting George up with a relatively attractive brunette,
Yeah.
And they say, well, he's got a good personality. That's what craft. It's like, well, it's craft whiskey.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, come on, you shouldn't have to modify that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it needs to be just whiskey, and you're gonna see like we have this whiskey shortage now.
Yeah. Well, supposedly, right?
Yeah, supposedly. I mean, but how many cases of Pappy got stolen just to rise the price? Whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But in 10 or 15 years, you're gonna have a glut of whiskey, which is amazing.
I'm totally
and really good stuff. I mean, like I said, you're going to see a great whiskey made in Austin, Texas. A great bourbon time. Even.
I hope
in the next couple of years, because people have been laying stuff down. I mean, we have the limestone filtered water, just like they do in Kentucky, with the same water source.
A little bit hotter here, but that could work to an advantage. Depending, I mean,
definitely could age quicker.
Use a lighter char,
and
expect more contraction in the barrel and stuff, which is
for
good.
Sure. I mean, there's definitely all kinds of scientific experiments or whatever going out. You could sell directly to the consumer now, which is amazing.
Wonderful.
I'm sure you're very psyched about that.
I'm totally psyched.
Out the middleman.
It's great getting to sell a bottle at the distillery and all that stuff.
Cut out
but back to the bourbon piece though. Every time we have a conversation, every one of the podcasts so far, I ask you guys to pick a bottle, and I'm really stoked on what you picked. You picked the 2014 Four Roses Single Barrel Limited Edition, which is running it at roughly 56.3% ABV, but does not taste it.
It doesn't taste a bit over 100.
How do you feel about the bottle here? I mean, it's obviously pretty low, so we've enjoyed it.
I mean, I love Four Roses for what they aren't. What they're not is a big, flashy. They do 3 or 4 whiskeys. You know what I mean? They don't. I mean, look at Sazerac. They have 20 or 30 different marks. Even Jim Beam has gotten into that. Jim Rutledge puts out what he likes. He's got. I mean, the yellow label. Come on. I mean, that's. What is it? $14 a bottle,
dude. It's way
good.
Cheap. Yeah.
It's legitimately good stuff. You know what I mean? And
do you think it's going to change it when he walks away? If he really truly walks away?
I mean, it always changes. Yeah. I mean, I just the Hudson whiskey came out with the 750s.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
yet.
Hudson Baby, the bourbon.
The baby bourbon.
I tried it side by side next to 375s, and it's changed.
That's good.
Is it good? It changed in a bad way.
Oh shit!
It's not as good as it used to be. I didn't even think Hudson was that great, anyways. Let's be honest. It's not worth the price.
It's not. Yeah.
It
tastes like
it's one of those things. I'd just give me a bottle of Buffalo Trace and I'd be happy.
Yeah, dude. Just give me that bottle.
That's what I'm
Eagle
saying.
Rare, fine. Just give me that.
Eagle
which is the same mash bill barrel selection. It's the same.
Yeah,
shit.
that's what I mean. Eagle Rare, it's a single. I mean, and then I put a thing on my Facebook the other day with Matt Tanner, who's a huge fan of Elmer T. Lee.
That was great.
Elmer T. Lee. You can't find it anymore.
It's so good.
The wells run dry.
It's just it's a weird bourbon bust. I'm glad to share this Four Roses with you because this is
great.
It's funny because every single bottle it represents something about somebody's personality. And you know what's cool though? And I mentioned this with Hank. I was talking to Hank yesterday. No one's picked Pappy because they know better. It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
It's totally good. And this is a wonderful limited edition. I think there's maybe one. I saw the label approval for 2015. Supposedly that's the last year of it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, there was a rumor a year ago William Grant was going to buy it, but I guess they walked away from it. Yeah. Because it doesn't have international prestige.
No, Japan only. That was their main export.
They're legitimately huge in Japan. I mean, you look at the back bar of any Quentin Tarantino movie and Kill Bill, it's all Four Roses.
For sure. When I was there, I saw a bunch of old export stuff from Four Roses.
It's wild, man.
It's killers. So you're doing Vox Table. You guys have the agave concept. Is there a point in which you're going to open your own place? Is that something you want to do?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the new year is going to hold?
I know. But are those aspirations bubbling up though for a lot of people?
They always have. At the end of the day, if you don't want to open up your own place, what do you? I don't know. I might have some opportunities coming up. I might do a little bit more brand work.
Yeah.
Do that for a little while, but at the end of the day, I would just legitimately like to open up.
What's your dream bar look like?
It's a Boilermaker bar before Boilermaker bars were cool, man. Like, give me a good
postmodern Boilermaker bar.
Give me a good neighborhood bar with good ice, fresh juice, good whiskey, decent beer, and you know what I mean. Like, nothing's overpriced.
Yeah, it's accessible.
Some live music Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're good to go. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not looking for much.
Yeah, I think you'll do it, man.
Like total Rust Belt Buffalo style, like. Believe me, I'm Texan through and through now. But like I would just like to bring a nice Rust Belt concept, and do a proper neighborhood. Not even dive bar. We just called them bars back then.
Yeah.
And half the bars I grew up in, they consider dives, and I'm just like, it's just a bar, man.
Yeah. I love it. Man, Travis, it's been great chatting with you.
Cool.
Thanks so much for coming.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So what do you guys think? I learned one main thing with Travis. There is Travis, and then there is Tober. Tober is like Prince. Tober is like Donovan. Tober is the one-word rock star that you expect him to be. But beyond all that, you get a guy who really likes music, loves people, very salt of the earth. I hope that's not an offensive thing to say, but Travis is a nice guy, approachable, down to earth, honest, and really, really transparent. So had a great chat with him. I thank you all again for tuning into Show to V with Mike G. And as always, please keep dancing.